The Tragic Mystery of Madeline Soto, a True Crime Reinvestigation. On the morning of February 26, 2024, the peaceful suburbs of Osceola County, Florida, awoke to devastating news. Madeline Soto, a vibrant 13-year-old girl, was missing. The sunlit streets that once buzzed with children's laughter were now cloaked in silence, replaced by whispers of dread and speculation. Madeline was no ordinary teenager. Known for her mischievous smile and boundless energy, she had been a beacon of light for her friends and family. Her dreams of one day becoming a teacher underscored her remarkable kindness, and her absence left a void that could immediately be felt by those who knew her. As the hours turned into days, Madeline's disappearance became the focal point of local media. Candlelight vigils were held as her photos were shared across social media in frantic attempts to locate her. But tragically, hope would soon be replaced with horror. On February 28th, just 2 days after she was reported missing, search efforts came to a devastating halt. Law enforcement had found Madeline's lifeless body, dumped in a wooded area not far from her home. Osceola County was suddenly thrust into the national spotlight as news outlets covered the heartbreaking discovery. The community's initial shock quickly turned to anger and disbelief. Who could commit such a heinous act against a defenseless child? As investigators worked through the pieces, one name would soon surface, a man who wasn't a stranger to Madeline. His name was Stephen Stearns. Madeline lived with her mother, Jennifer Soto. Like many single parents, Jennifer worked hard to provide for her daughter and rebuild her life after previous hardships. Stephen Stearns, her new boyfriend, had recently entered their lives. To the outside world, Stearns seemed like just another romantic partner, but for Madeline, his presence brought something darker. Friends at school later revealed that Madeline had confided in them, describing her stepfather figure as mean and someone who made her uncomfortable. She had, it seems, sensed the danger lurking at home. In hindsight, her schoolmates struggled to reconcile their inability to intervene with the gravity of what later unfolded. The night before Madeline's disappearance appeared uneventful on the surface. Jennifer Soto later recounted how she felt fatigued after a long week, and in a decision she would come to regret, she asked Stearns and Madeline to sleep in a separate room to give her space to rest. This simple decision proved pivotal. Between the walls of their modest home, a sequence of events began to play out that would forever alter the course of their lives. By morning, Madeline was gone. Stearns claimed his innocence from the start. He told Jennifer and later investigators that Madeline must have run away during the night. But as the discrepancies in his story became apparent, law enforcement was already piecing together evidence that cast doubt on his version of events. Detectives wasted no time in their investigation. They retraced Madeline's final hours and scoured the area for anything that could point to her whereabouts before her untimely death. Their diligence paid off when surveillance footage from a traffic camera revealed a chilling clue. In the footage, Stearns' SUV could be seen traveling along a rural back road. Disturbingly, investigators noticed what appeared to be an unresponsive figure slumped in the back seat. The timestamp on the footage corresponded to the estimated time Madeline disappeared. Adding to their suspicions, forensic testing of Stearns' vehicle uncovered damning evidence. Traces of Madeline's DNA were found in the SUV's rear compartment, along with fibers matching her clothing. The mounting evidence painted a dark picture of Stearns' involvement, one that contradicted his claims of innocence. As news of Stearns' potential role in Madeline's death spread, a collective sense of betrayal rippled through the community. How could someone entrusted with the care of a child be capable of such an unspeakable crime? Her classmates and teachers, still grappling with the shock of her passing, shared fond memories of Madeline. She always smiled, even when things got tough, one friend recalled. But somber recollections gave way to guilt as friends recalled her words about feeling unsafe at home. Could her death have been prevented if someone had acted on her cry for help? These questions turned private mourning into public outcry. When authorities brought Stearns in for questioning, his demeanor raised further red flags. Initially calm and cooperative, he offered conflicting stories about the events surrounding Madeline's disappearance. At one point, he claimed she had been abducted by an unidentified stranger, only to later suggest she had run away to meet someone in secret. But facts don't lie. DNA evidence, witnesses' statements, and his erratic behavior unraveled Stern's credibility. Law enforcement would go on to charge him with first-degree murder, a charge that carried the potential for life imprisonment. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Stearns maintained his innocence when confronted in court. His defense attorneys argued that the allegations against him were circumstantial, claiming there was no direct proof tying him to the act of murder itself. But prosecutors painted a far grimmer picture, using every piece of evidence to demonstrate Stearns' culpability. As the legal proceedings began, tensions in Osceola County intensified. The courtroom became a battlefield for Stearns' defense team and the prosecution, who laid bare the horrifying details of the case. For Madeline's family, the continual delays and drawn-out procedures were almost too much to bear. Jennifer Soto, often seen clutching a photograph of her daughter in the courtroom's public gallery, pleaded publicly for justice. "Madeline was my everything," she said tearfully during an interview. I trusted him with my baby." The trial brought forward expert witnesses who testified about the forensic evidence, as well as individuals who knew Stearns personally, revealing a questionable history of aggression and manipulation. Madeline's story resonates with true crime enthusiasts, not just because of its shocking twists, but because of its brutal reminder of how vulnerable young lives can be. Her vibrant personality and gentle spirit became overshadowed by her tragic end, a loss that unsettles every parent, friend, and neighbor who heard her story. Her case also raises urgent questions. How can communities create safer spaces for children? How do we empower kids to speak out when they feel unsafe? And how do we teach adults to recognize warning signs before it's too late? After Madeline's passing, her school and community joined forces to ensure her legacy would endure. A memorial garden now sits behind her middle school, a place where her friends and classmates can find solace and remember her life. Meanwhile, advocacy groups have rallied around her story, using it to amplify the importance of child safety within family units. Community organizations work tirelessly to educate families about recognizing abuse and ensuring children have the resources they need when they feel unsafe. The tragedy of Madeline Soto's death is both heartbreaking and sobering. Her story reminds us of the potential dangers that can exist even within the comfort of our homes. But it also serves as a call to action, a rallying cry for communities to prioritize the safety and well-being of all children. As legal proceedings against Stephen Stearns continue, one thing is clear. Justice for Madeline means more than holding her accused killer accountable. It means ensuring no other child suffers a similar fate. For those moved by her story, consider reaching out to local advocacy groups, donating to child protection charities, or simply having a conversation with the children you know and love. Together, we can honor Madeline's memory by creating a world where every child feels protected, heard, and valued. Madeline Soto's light was extinguished far too soon, but her spirit continues to shine, urging us to be vigilant, compassionate, and ever watchful. For her and for every child, let us answer that call.